All right, welcome everyone to today's presentation. This is Kurt Nadervelt. I'm the CEO of Rainstar Capital Group, and we're excited today to continue our, question of the day series with one of our managing directors, Terrell Sarver, who's our managing director that heads up our Indianapolis, Indiana market. Good morning, Terrell. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Kurt. Thanks for having me today. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about kind of the number one battle that our firm and any firm has in the space of the capital markets, which is obviously securing the proper paperwork, right, to get the full package together. So paperwork obviously can be a little nitty gritty, and there can be a lot of different documents that we need, of course, but it's so crucial to be able to get the full process complete. And so today, we're going to be discussing for each of our product lines, what the documentation is. So if you were to reach out to Terrell and, you had a request, right? Let's say it's a commercial real estate or an equipment request, whatever the product line is, what are the specific documents that, Terrell is going to be asking you for? So excited to do this presentation. Let's jump into it. So Terrell, if a client comes to you and is looking for commercial real estate financing, let's say you need to purchase a $4 million office building or refinance their $500,000 single tenant use building or whatever it is, walk us through exactly some of the documentation that that you're going to require.
Yes. So because most clients, right, they really don't understand and know the true documents that the lender or the underwriters are looking for. So this is a great question. I'm here to help. So on a commercial real estate and SBA or even fix and flip, you want to have a signed 1003 for a fix and flip. You also want to have it for an SBA and a commercial loan as well. So you want to have a signed 1003, which we can provide for the customer. Also, if it's a purchase, we want to make sure that we have the purchase agreement. That is key because we have to make sure that there is an agreement. So we want to make sure we have the executed purchase agreement, which is signed by both the seller and the buyer. Also, we want to make sure if it's a refinance, we want to make sure that we have the tax assessment as well, because that is key. Also, we need 6 months business bank statements, all pages. We need the borrower's authorization form as well, which gives us authorization for the lenders and the underwriters to pull the credit. We also need assets documents, which includes the checking and savings accounts and their retirement accounts as well. We also need income documents, which will be the last 2 years of their business and personal tax returns, previous years of their profit and loss and balance sheets. And we also need the year-to-date P&L and balance sheets. We also will need the schedule of real estate owned for the fix and flip. That is key as well because it gives the underwriter some type of gauge of what type of assets that the borrower has. So we want to make sure we get the schedule of real estate on, which is for the fix and flip. We want to also make sure we have a personal financial statement, with the acronym for that is PFS, and that's for commercial real estate as well. And we want to also make sure that we have the schedule of work to be completed, which means we need to have a rehab budget and flip.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the, so earlier in the conversation, Terrell mentioned 1003. That very simply is just an application, commercial form. It's also known as an application.
That's a commercial uniform form that most lenders will need. It's very detailed. It has all the information that the lender would need in order to process their request.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So I want to make a note of that. If there's anyone that maybe doesn't know what a 3 is. So anyway, pivoting now to kind of one of our other programs, let's talk a little bit about equipment financing. So let's say somebody comes to you, Terrell, and is looking to purchase equipment, or let's say they want to pull some cash out against some equipment they own free and clear. Obviously, we do have app-only programs, which are kind of minimal paperwork and such. But to really get a full package, why don't you kind of walk us through what we would look for on the full package side?
Yes, sir. So yeah, on the equipment funding side, like you said, if it's not an app only, we would also need the signed application. That's important because I've seen a lot of deals delayed because the application wasn't signed. So we want to make sure that the application is signed by the borrower. We also would need 6 months business bank statements from the buyer. We also need a spec sheet or a quote or an invoice for the equipment that they're trying to purchase. We would also need a copy of their credit report. Now, we don't have to have the credit report from the lender, but if you can go to creditchecktotal.com, you can actually get a monitoring service credit report. I think that report is $1, and you can get access to your credit report. Most lenders will take Credit Check Total. Also, we would need a copy of your equipment list, which means if you currently are owning equipment and you want to leverage that equipment to get cash back, we would also need an equipment list also. We also need other documents that may be requested depending on the amount that you need. But for right now, just to get the process started, these are the documents that we will need for the equipment fund.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, getting back to the equipment list, that's where if we need to be creative, we can also potentially cross-collateralize some of your other equipment, right? Let's say you have bad credit, let's say your income's not strong. We have lenders that like, that like equipment, right? And they like the collateral and the equity in those pieces, right? So
yeah, that's key.
Right.
Yeah, that's key because a lot of lenders will leverage or use the assets that you already own to get you the cash that you're looking for, and a lot of times that doesn't require a lot. A lot of times you don't have to have great credit to be able to leverage that information, but it's great to have. And so instead of us asking for it once it's in underwriting, if you can provide that equipment list up front, that would be, kind of speed up the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say somebody's looking for working capital, Terrell. Let's say they're looking for like a line of credit or like a business term loan. Why don't you walk us through kind of what it is that we need for that type of request?
Yes, sir. So on your business lines of credit or your term loans, once again, we're going to need a signed application because and the purpose of the signed application is to make sure that we didn't submit a loan that the borrower didn't give us permission to submit. So the lender, likes to make sure that those applications are signed, in which we will provide the application for you. Also, we need 2 years of business and personal tax returns. Okay. Also, we need a year-to-date P&L and balance sheet. We also need the previous year balance sheet. We also need a debt schedule as well. That is key, which we can provide you with that document if you don't have it. And then, of course, we need 6 months business bank statements as well to apply for that credit line or that term business loan.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the lenders that provide a business loan or line of credit, they underwrite from a cash flow perspective, right? So
Correct.
They want to see the documents that verify the cash flow that your business or your personal has basically. So, all right, cool. Let's transition now. Let's go into accounts receivable financing or factoring, right? Terrell, if a client comes to you and has accounts receivable, they want to get some liquidity against them. What are the documents that you require for that?
Yes, sir. So factoring, once again, we're going to need that signed application. So once again, we will provide that application for you, make sure that it's completely filled out, and also make sure that it's signed because we can't move forward if the application is not signed. Also, we need a accounts receivables and accounts aging report as well. We need that. And then we're also going to need your articles of incorporation, and we're going to need previous 2 years business tax returns, year-to-date P&L, and balance sheet as well.
Perfect. Okay. And obviously we get a lot of requests for purchase order financing, right, or PO funding. Why don't you walk us through that program and product line as well?
Yes, sir. So once again, we need a signed application, an executed signed application giving us permission to submit your information. We're also going to need the articles of corporation. We're going to also need the purchase orders as well. And then we're going to need the pro forma invoice from each vendor that you're in business with. And that's pretty much it for the purchase order financing.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, Terrell, thank you so much for taking the time to kind of go through this. With our platform of over 200 registered lenders, a lot of these lenders are going to look at cash flow, credit, and collateral. And so the way that they verify those items is obviously through the documentation. So we hope today that by going through these things that it'll help a client understand, or whether it be one of our banker partners or one of our broker partners or referral partners, kind of the process that, and the documentation that we need to be able to effectively, do our jobs, get the transaction matched up to one of our fund managers. And, I encourage anybody watching this, if you do have a transaction, feel free to reach out to Terrell. He does a great job with his clients, as you can see on the ad there. There's his emails there. You can also go to his landing page, www.rainstarcapitalgroup.com/Terrell. And Terrell, thank you again for your time today.
No, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. God bless.
Thanks.